Hey, this is Dave Pryor. Welcome to Leading Agile SoundNotes. Here at Agile 2017, we're doing interviews all week long with speakers and thought leaders and folks that are helping to run the event. And right now, we're going to talk about something very controversial. So Johanna Rothman and Mike Griffiths are here. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
And I'll shake your hands.
All right.
That's how we start things here. Now, let's talk about the heresy that you are reaping upon both of my worlds.
We are uniting the Agile Alliance and the PMI.
All right.
I don't think that that's heresy.
No, and nor is it very new, but it might be new to some people.
It's scary. I guess, is scary the right word for people? I mean, you're the ones that have worked on it. How have people reacted to it?
So far, really well.
Okay.
Even when we went out for SME review, subject matter expertise review, we got so many really good comments that people were really excited about seeing the guide evolve and seeing something that had the weight of the PMI and the weight of the Agile Alliance behind it.
Okay, cool. So, do you want either one of you explain to the folks who may not be totally familiar what we're actually talking about?
Sure.
I should have started with that, but I'm excited about asking the questions.
So we're talking about the Agile Practice Guide,
Okay.
which is a new book, basically. It's a joint venture between the Agile Alliance and the Project Management Institute. And it's really a practitioner's guide for people stuck in that messy middle ground of having agile teams in their organization,
Right.
but less than agile organizations. Maybe they're working with plan-driven PMOs or traditional funding models or other groups that aren't sort of up on the agile techniques or concepts yet.
So they're trying to do it, but they're surrounded by
Yes,
the waterfall and can't figure out how
absolutely,
to get through it.
yeah. And as Johanna was mentioning, so we wrote this text which says it's okay to be in this space, and let's hope everybody's transitioning to becoming more agile, but you know what? Some organizations will never get there.
Yeah.
And some of these ideas were what was potentially contentious at what you were talking about, right? The fact that
it's okay
to maybe never get all the way. And it's okay to maybe use elements of both agile and non-agile approaches together. So these are the types of things that we were talking about, which led to, the thought that there would be people up in arms about this.
I think it's really cool because I do find, I feel like I can walk in both worlds. I love all the PMI stuff and I love all the Agile stuff, but it does seem like there's a lot of companies that when you look at them, you're not going to get all of it. You started over here, you've been doing it that way for 100 years. There's so much baked in culture, it's going to take generations to get a few steps further, but it's okay.
And the guide is really focused around the team.
Okay.
Because if you can get your team working in whatever way works for them, and of course we think the more agile, the more iterative and incremental with the agile culture, the agile mindset, the more you will have success. That's been our experience. So being able to focus on the team and having appendices for here's how you might think about portfolio management, here's how you might think about scaling. That stuff I think is really well served to put in the appendices for this version of the guide. Right? We might do, well, not we, because it'll be a different team, but the guide writers might do something different in the future.
So this is going to be part of the new PMBOK, right?
No, it's not actually.
Separate.
It's a separate document, separate book, but it's going to be launched at the same time. And the PMBOK guide.
So it's like an extension, like one of the PMI extensions?
No, it's like that.
I'm asking all the right questions.
It's different.
Okay, so explain it. I'm so used to the old way of doing it.
Yeah, so the old way was you would have the PMBOK guide, the project management body of knowledge, and then there was a construction extension to the PMBOK guide.
Software.
And we wrote a software extension to the PMBOK guide, and they were quite closely linked. This is a little bit more separated. So the new version of the PMBOK guide, it has an Agile appendix in it, and it basically says, hey, if you want more guidance on this stuff, go see the Agile Practice Guide.
I'm going to blame Jesse now, because Jesse told me it was in the back, and I guess he was talking about the appendix. Thank you, Jesse.
So it gives a bit more freedom, because the other extensions to the guides have to refer to the same knowledge areas and the same process groups, and you're kind of limited by the structure of the PMBOK guide. By having it as a totally separate standard, a separate guide, we didn't have to follow that structure. So we
Okay.
could structure it around establishing teams. If you have this problem, consider this. It gave us a bit more freedom.
Okay. So I have a sort of a weird question I want to ask you. I run across a lot of people that talk about hybrids, and I get kind of up on my porch and want to yell at the kids in the yard, because to me, there's two kinds of hybrids. There's a hybrid where you've started to do something and inspected, adapted it, and made a conscious choice to change something. Like I would always do traditional risk management on all my Agile projects because it helps me. Then there are all the people that are like, we're special, we're different, we're just going to keep this part and keep that part and call it a hybrid. And I just think that's kind of, for lack of a better word, kind of lazy. Right? Or it's not a conscious choice. It's not an informed choice.
Okay,
I'm wondering how you guys feel about that idea, and if this is going to help people. Is it going to help them understand where the guardrails are when they're trying to do this thing?
We have a section on hybrid.
Okay.
And we talk about how you might have plan-driven and then more agile approaches and then phased deployment or delivery, right? That is a very common approach. And Mike actually drew a whole bunch of pictures, which, of course, the illustrator redrew. I thought your pictures were great, talking about where you might find hybrid in the different areas.
Okay.
And we really differentiate what Agile is and what hybrid is.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
we actually had a lot of conversation at our very first meeting talking about what Agile was. Because we had people who said, if you're iterative and incremental, you're Agile. And I'm one of the people who said,
I can imagine you reacting.
I know.
Well.
I said, no, we have to have delivery. We have to deliver and get the feedback. It's all about the feedback and then the change. I mean, I've ranted to you several times. So I won't have to rant here. So we had a really good conversation, and we came up with a definition of Agile, which is the mindset and the values and the frequent delivery.
Okay.
So that we were looking at the principles behind the manifesto and the growth mindset and the fast feedback, or as fast as you can make it now, and then the delivery. Because being iterative and incremental is insufficient for being Agile. It might be where you are in your journey, and we wanted to honor people where they were in their
Help
journey.
them get a little bit further, hopefully.
If they want.
Okay.
If they want.
And we also had a definition around blended as well. We separated a blended approach. You might mix Scrum and XP. Both of those are Agile techniques, and we call that result blended, and that can be Agile. But when you mix something Agile with something non-Agile, you then have a hybrid, which isn't Agile by definition.
Now, how do you guys feel about the idea of a hybrid? Does it make either one of you kind of, are you wanting to freak out?
I don't want to freak out. I want to meet people where they are.
Okay.
On the other hand, I really hate it when they call what they're doing Agile. I know.
So not if they call it hybrid, but if they call it.
If they call it a hybrid, we're iterating on our UI.
Yeah.
Great. Getting feedback on the UI early, I think that's wonderful. But we have this phased deployment that takes us 6 months to get from when we release something to when it gets to the customer. So we're Agile for the first part, but we're not Agile.
We do Agile during development, and everything else is traditional.
And I say to those people, good for you for taking advantage of the Agile approaches. You're a hybrid. And
good job.
no, I don't. And if you really wanted to see the benefit of all your iterative and incremental work, you would fix the deployment problem, or possibly fix the project portfolio problem, which delays all the projects getting into your team.
Okay. Do you think that this is going to lead to people on the traditional side getting to a state where they're questioning what they're doing more? Like you just brought this up. Like that's not a question that would, like when I learned to do this stuff, traditional stuff, you didn't ask questions like that. It wasn't like, how do we fix this? It was like, who did it wrong? Get rid of them, get somebody else in here. But do you think that putting these two worlds together for the folks that start to look at it, it will raise more questions for them?
I think you'll give them some more tools for their toolbox, and hopefully the tools they need to start improving. If we encourage or get into this idea of regular retrospectives and letting the team figure out how to improve, then they should be able to continue to improve and adapt and move away from those blaming situations to fixing some of the things they got responsible.
Just to create.
Yeah.
Okay. What about governance? Is there anything in there about how that's supposed to work, or how you're supposed to deal with reporting upstairs? Because if you're in a traditional PMO, that's still feeling like it has to give all the old-timey stuff to the folks upstairs, and your teams are like, we only do burn-down charts now, the PMO has a heart attack. Is there any kind of answer to that?
We have a number of measurements that we suggest.
Okay.
And for example, velocity or burn down charts are not one of them.
Okay.
But cumulative flow might be.
Okay.
Right? So there are a number of possibilities in the guide. And we also, I don't remember, did we talk about the difference between understanding your project state and reporting project progress?
No, we
remember
don't
if we
stress
did.
that really.
Okay.
We give examples of like the cumulative flow diagrams of
Yeah.
percent done versus percent remaining,
Mhm.
things like
Okay.
that.
Yeah, that was, for me, that was like the sky filling and smacking me in the head when I stopped asking people how much have you done and how much do you have left instead. That was
Oh yeah, so we actually have the product backlog burn up chart,
cool.
which you remember from the
Yeah,
project portfolio book or the program management. I don't remember. So we have that chart and we have the cumulative flow, and that way you can see, yes, what maybe has been done, but what is remaining to do.
Okay, cool. Is there going to be any kind of tests or anything like that around this that you're aware of? No? Okay, I haven't asked anybody at PMI, but I figured I should check. So this is coming out in October, right?
September, actually.
September, okay. And the conference is in October.
Correct. Yeah, there's a PMI conference where both of them will be quite the focus. Yeah.
Okay. So for people who come, I mean, you guys both walk in both worlds, right? How was it to work with the Alliance and PMI together? Was it, I mean, like Jesse described it, one of the things he said, and I'm assuming it probably came from one of the two of you, nothing against Jesse, but he talked about PMI being an organization that is focused on acknowledging practices that are standardized, right? Like they're at the end of the curve because everyone's doing this, so now let's say this is okay. Whereas on the Agile side, everything keeps changing and evolving faster and faster. So they're two opposite ends of where we find ways to do stuff.
Let me take a quick look at this. So, for example, the PMI people that we had on our team, we had the core writing team.
I'm just as a standards organization.
Oh, as a standards organization. So I think that there's a lot of conservatorship in the PMI.
Okay.
We saw that from the MAG comments, the member advisory group. And there is a reason for that stewardship. Some of this stuff works, and it works in every project that they have seen.
Okay.
And the difference is, we have seen other projects.
Yeah, and it's not really new anymore, is it? It's been around for 20 years or so,
Yeah.
these techniques. So even if you are only documenting things that have been proven, I think we're already at that stage, right,
Okay.
where it's fair to say, hey, short iterations, getting feedback, empowering the team, prioritized list of features.
Right.
Yeah,
So some of the more like less cutting edge Agile stuff that brand people are coming up with right now.
Yes,
Okay.
there's not a lot of new elements in there. So we didn't actually talk about continuous delivery or digital organizations
Okay.
and some of those.
Okay.
So yes, it's the established stuff, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. One more question for you, though. How do you feel about the term Agile Project Manager? You're okay
I
with
love it.
Okay.
I love it. So here's why. An Agile project manager, actually any facilitative project manager, does not manage the people.
Right.
That person facilitates the process.
Okay.
And that is what a Scrum Master is supposed to do. And I have seen way too many Scrum Masters who really believe in the master part. And they get out the whip and they say, who's doing that story
Because
and
they
where are
control
you?
the Scrum process.
Right. So they're not facilitating the Scrum process. This is nothing against Scrum. This could happen with any project management framework.
Okay.
So I actually really like the word Agile Project Manager, assuming that you realize it's a facilitative servant leadership role.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, I'm not really hung up on the words.
Okay.
I don't care as long as we're doing the right thing, which is the servant leadership approach.
Okay.
Right, and so, yeah, it means different things to different people.
Yeah.
you got to dig deeper really to understand what they mean by it. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So let's talk about books really quick. And not the thing we're going to talk about later, but let's talk about like your book, the ACP books, right? I know you've got more than that, but that is a standard or a way of explaining to people how to prepare for that exam.
Yeah.
Very comprehensive. Do you see that changing much in the near future?
So there is a new workbook that's available now, which is basically just a top-up for CSMs to gain the skills that they would need to go sit the ACP exam. So it covers the things that you don't learn about in Scrum. So there's Lean, and there's Kanban, and there's emotional intelligence, conflict management, and the extra elements you need, along with a bunch of situational questions to get you ready for the exam.
Okay, and you got a new book.
That one, the workbook is out, and I'm working on a new book for the rest of this year, should be end of this year, early next year.
Okay.
And that one's got a working title of Beyond Agile, and it's really talking about analysis of projects that I've worked on, some that went well and others that didn't go well. And while Agile was a common theme, the ones that went well, we were doing other stuff as well. And sometimes Agile was at the forefront, and quite often it was at the, on the back seat. And so we were leveraging a lot more emotional intelligence. Sometimes, like you were saying, we were doing traditional risk management, so there were some plan-driven elements in there. There was a lot of industry-specific domain knowledge that was required in some of them. And so this book is really about how do you, broaden that net or scope of techniques to apply, yet remaining focused. Because when you try and increase the size of a methodology, you end up with like a scaling framework that suddenly effort is diverted.
He did that just to see me laugh.
So you've got to keep the focus.
No, man.
So how do you keep the focus on the end goal?
Right.
And so it has this idea that knowledge is weightless, but process has weight. So how do you keep that backpack you're carrying a process light enough to get to the goal before that disappears? So it's this idea of using multiple approaches, but keeping a really tight rein on what you
and
get the team
not worrying
to do.
about labeling the different tools as well.
I don't care. They're all valid tools, right? And if they make sense to you, great, use them. And as soon as they don't, and as soon as your ceremony isn't adding value, drop it.
Yeah. I think that's really important, and I hope that for like the folks in the PMI community and the Agile community that are watching, I think we're moving towards a point where people don't care. I mean, they're just tools. Like to me, the more tools I have, the better I can be at my job. And I'd like to have as many as possible, regardless of where they came from.
Right.
So you've got. I mean, we're going to do another thing about your book in a few minutes, but what's going on with you?
So I've been transitioning a bunch of my in-person classes to online classes because one of the things I've seen is that people need the time to practice. So I am working on a number of project management, Kanban, certainly the writing and the project ownership classes, to be distance so that there's guided practice in between the videos and the 1 hour discussion every week. And that way people can learn in smaller chunks. They can see a progression, and they don't need to hire me to come in because they can get the value without coming in.
To try it out. And then
there's that.
That's awesome. Cool. Thank you both for coming by. And as somebody who crosses the world, thank you for the work that you do. I'm excited to see this come out.
So if I can just say one more thing. Mike was the cool, calm, and collected chairperson.
And let me guess, who was the person that was freaking out and yelling?
That would be me. That would be me. So the pair of us were, from my perspective, it was great. And working with the team, the entire team.
So you had, I guess I'm going to ask a question. You had people from the Alliance side of the house, the PMI side of the house, and then the few of you that are comfortable on both sides of the house.
I actually think that all 7 of us writers were comfortable in both sides. Yeah.
Do you think that that's increasing, that people are getting more, like when I asked you, people are freaking out about it, and you're not so much. It seems like it's becoming more accepted a little bit. Like when I took my CSM class and said, I run a component in PMI, and they booed me.
Wow.
And then when I called people resources, they threw things at me.
Well,
Which
yeah.
is probably well deserved.
Yeah.
But do you think that there is less stress at the commingling of these different ways of working?
Yeah, I certainly hope so.
I hope so,
I'm
too.
seeing that maybe it's a self-selecting circle that we mix in, but
Yeah.
I don't see as much conflict as we used to.
I mean, I've been writing for projectmanagement.com, and they're now part of PMI.
Yeah.
I've been writing for them for a gazillion years. And people, when I talk about not calling people resources, people don't yell at me about that.
Yeah.
So,
For easing up a little. I hear Agile
Yeah.
people use that word.
Oh,
Referring to humans
yes.
too sometimes.
yes,
Yeah.
it's
Cool.
true.
All right. Well, thank you. Let's say hi to Dave Garrett.
Hi, Dave.
Hey, Dave. So thank you for being here. Great talking
Thank
to you.
you.
Again.
Yeah.
And thank you for all
You're
your
welcome.
work. So you can keep an eye out for this in September. I'm sure it's going to show up on the Agile Alliance site and the PMI site.
Yeah.
What about if they want to get in touch with you guys? Where can they reach you?
Sure. My website is leadinganswers.com. I could be reached at that website or my email, mike@leadinganswers.com.
Okay.
And I'm jrothman.com, and my email is jr@jrothman.com.
And you can go to Amazon and find all their stuff, right? Or
Yeah.
or LeanPub. LeanPub.
Yeah, yeah,
Better deal for
yeah.
you. Okay. Thanks for watching.